It's Politicz.
Yo. Welcome back to Neighborhood Politics. I'm Mrs. Neighborhood Politics.
And it's the one and only Mr. Neighborhood Politics.
My goodness, it's starting early. And you already know we are doing neighborhood discipleship, right?
Yeah, episode 3, we talking about your one and only today, Adam and Eve. This is a conversation to be had.
About what?
Man, I think this is one of them first conversations I think that a lot of people have when it comes to
who was in the wrong,
growing up, right or wrong,
or
Adam,
why
Eve,
why did Eve do that? Now we the fallen man.
Yeah, the fallen man. So, I think it's dope to, from the last transition of kind of the disciples take a step back. We also at the beginning of Genesis with, the beginning of times and Adam and Eve and how that transpired and, from there what took place.
Okay, so my question is, what are your thoughts on Adam and Eve? Like, just in general, like, how do you feel about everything that happened? Or how about you explain what happened for the people who don't know what happened, and then we go into what our thoughts was or are pertaining to them.
All right, so Eve was a no good, filthy...
Are you serious? I rebuke that, and I rebuke you.
You know what? I'm playing, but nah. Adam and Eve. So Adam was created in God's image, from dirt, right? So he was from the ground. From the ground. Mm-hmm. And Adam was living this luxurious, pretty much, I'm gonna just say, lifestyle. Imagine you living, on your own, doing your own thing, kicking it. You got everything to you that you need. You don't want for nothing. You got a plethora of options to choose from on anything that you want. You got the animals around you. You good. You living comfortably, but it's just something that's missing in your lifestyle. You got you fit for the temporary moment. You fulfilled. Again, day by day you waking up. You got apples to choose from. You got oranges to choose from. You got whatever meal you want. You got your company of, again, all the animals in the world that God then given you, that God then gave you the power to name and
rule over,
and the steward over. I think that's great. I like that, steward over. And then a couple months go by and you just like, man, you know what, this is kind of getting boring. These animals ain't they might not be talking back. I need some company. I need something to keep me afloat. And
I think Adam was cool with that. I think God was like, I need something more than this.
Oh no, I mean, yeah. So okay, maybe so then. So you teaching me something. I thought Adam was the one that had asked God, like, can I get a companion? And I think from there, was God took one of Adam's ribs, I believe it was, and
yep, and made Eve. It made Eve. But yeah, it said that he the Lord's God said it is not good for man to be alone. I will make a companion who will help him.
Okay.
So God saw that, and then that's when he go on to talk about how he named the animals and all the things. He chose a name for each one, and then that's when God put Adam to sleep, and then he took one of Adam's ribs and made Eve out of that.
Okay.
So yeah, it was God that said, okay, Adam, I made you to do this and do that. I made you to rule over these, animals and all this, but I feel like you missing something. You need a companion. Yeah. And the animals ain't it. Yeah. So.
And I think that's, even to hear that, I had, no thought process of this earlier today or yesterday or, when I was doing my studies. But, I always revert back to the timing that we living in now, to where so much separation. And I'm just going to speak on amongst our culture, is, a lot of people don't see they yourself getting married or, having a companion.
Yeah.
They don't see the reasonings on behind that. You got, for whatever reasons, you got, it's if you tally up a group of 10 men and 10 women and ask them what their thought process, I'm sure you might hear 10 different things.
Yeah.
But it's just funny that, when we talk about this Bible and we bring that up, how, even then, that wasn't the, but how we live in now, the mind frame that a lot of people got now isn't the mind frame that Jesus had for, or God had for Adam.
Or man in general.
Yeah, man in general.
Like he didn't create just Adam by himself and said, yeah, you good, you don't need nobody. He was like, nah, I feel like you need a companion.
Yeah.
So let me create, and I ain't gonna create your companion from the ground. I'm gonna create your companion from your rib. Yeah. That's deep. Yeah. I really do wonder why God really chose to make Eve out of Adam's rib. Like he could have made her out of dust and dirt just like him, but it's like, no, I'm gonna make her. But it does say, when it comes to, making them one, you know, and then becoming one flesh. So I guess that's what it is. Yeah,
I can see that because again, when you taking on that role of being a companion with somebody, you taking that next step, we one and the same. So, like you say, he could have made it from the dust as well, but it's like, nah, this is going to be the person that's for you. This is your rib, and that's what it means. Like, this is the person that I am hand creating out of your body, so y'all going to replicate each other movements. Y'all for each other, and I'm just thinking through the rib cage and all that. That's a part of your breathing. Yeah. So this is gonna be your breath of air.
Yeah. So yeah, God is very intentional. So we got to go back. So for the people who do not know who Adam and Eve were, well, we know that Adam was created first. God created Adam. In the beginning, he created Adam. And then after creating Adam, he created Eve, which is Adam's companion, who was made out of Eve's rib. Adam was made from the ground. And then he gave them a place the place that he created for them to stay and rule over and steward over and
which was called what?
The Garden of Eden.
The Garden of Eden.
Yeah, so he had a place already prepared. What's crazy is he had already had the place, and then he created Adam, and then he created the animals, and then he created, he had him name the animals. Let me be fair, he had him name the animals. Then he created Eve. So it's like he kind of already created everything that they needed before creating them. That's one thing that I think is beautiful, and I think that shows God's provision for his people in general. Like he created everything that we needed before he created us. So he created, the first day he created light and darkness. Second day, sky and water. Third day, the sea and the land. And the sea and land, and then waters gathered. And then the fourth day, sun, moon, stars, day and night, mark off the seasons, days and years. He created, I guess, like time. I don't know. I ain't gonna say time, but it says to the sun, moon, and stars to preside over day and night, to mark off seasons, days, and years. I say time because that's what that means to me. Day 5, he created the fish and the birds to fill the waters and the sky. And then day 6, the animals to fill the earth, man and woman to care for the earth and commune with God. And then day 7, he rested. So before he created Adam and Eve, he literally created everything that we needed, or that they needed before even. And I think that was a huge testament to God's provision for his people. Like and I feel like he was very intentional even when he created light and dark. Like he wanted us to be able to know the difference between the two. Everything was created with intention. So when he created Adam and he put him in the Garden of Eden, he made Eve out of his rib. And now we got Adam and Eve. But the crazy part about it is before he created Eve, he had created
the relationship that should have never happened.
Yes, it should have. Okay. But when he created Adam, I thought this was unique when I was reading. When he created Adam, he told Adam, then don't eat from a tree.
You know how that.
But he told Adam first before he even created Eve.
He told him not to eat from what?
To don't eat from that tree.
What tree?
The tree of
Hold on. The tree? What tree?
Bruh, I know I'm not with this now. What tree? You got going on over there?
The tree.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought you was about to hit me with a surprise. I was about to say, bruh.
Nah, the tree.
That is a Christmas tree, Q.
It looked like the tree of life to me.
No. Bro, what is going on?
It looked like the tree of life to y'all, don't it?
It looks like a Christmas tree.
It looked like the tree of life to me.
We can say that's the tree of life. Put that down.
So he told him
So let me see where he said it's
Adam not to eat from the tree of life.
Yeah, he told him. Yeah, he definitely told him that. When he created him, he definitely told him that. Yeah, but I'm gonna find that verse. But yeah, he told him that literally. He told him don't eat from a tree, but he told him that before he created Eve, right? And then he created Eve, and so forth.
And Adam was doing a great job. He was living his life again, like I had mentioned a little bit earlier. Everything was good. He didn't have no temptations. God gave him some told him what to do and what not to do and what he could, but like I said, what he couldn't do, and he was good.
Yeah, he told him, okay, so you trying to say, okay, oh wow, I see where you're going with this. I'm not feeling this because neither one was to blame. I would say both of them, if anything. It ain't no Eve. Then we gonna get there. But that was Genesis chapter 2 verse 15. It said the Lord God placed the man in the Garden of Eden to tend and care for it. But the Lord God gave him this warning: you may freely eat any fruit in the garden except fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat of its fruit, you will surely die. And then the Lord God said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make a companion who will help him.
Yeah.
So he did give him that before creating Eve.
He did.
So I definitely wanted to make that clear.
He did.
So that's what Adam and Eve is.
Yeah. So but what was going on with Eve?
What you mean?
So Eve came about. So Eve came about. So now we have Eve and Adam was doing great. They was living. They was kicking it. They was
good.
Following directions.
Yeah.
And then the serpent came.
Yeah. So the serpent came and he said to Eve, he went to Eve. He was talking to Eve, but he pretty much. Hold on, wait. No, I know what he said. I'm trying to put it in terms.
No, just put it in the terms that we gonna understand.
Okay, so pretty much he said pretty much you see that tree over there,
he told
you should eat that, and he's like, she was like, nah, God told us not to. He said, really? God told y'all that? He told us pretty much don't eat from it. Well, he's like, he pretty much don't want y'all to eat from it because he don't want y'all to be all knowing like him. No, he ain't even say it like that. He said, no, you should eat from it because pretty much he just know that you'll be all knowing like him. You'll be just like him if you eat it because you'll be all knowing. But I was thinking about this in the beginning. When he told Adam to not eat it, he told him why. He said, you may freely eat any fruit in the garden except fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He told him the from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The enemy twisted it, but it's it said that you won't die. He said God knows that your eyes will be open when you eat and you will become just like God, knowing everything, both good and evil. So
yeah, man, you know how
he lied when he said you won't die.
Listen, you know how it be. You know how it be. You doing okay, or you chilling. You living your best life, and then you got that one hating. You know what I'm saying? Person that been looking from a distance the whole time, and he went in. He went into the party. He went into the party, and he want to figure out how to get into the club, but he can't. He didn't see you go into the club 20 times. You get in the VIP section, and he trying to figure out why he can't get in the VIP section. Then he come to you and be like, hey. Boss man over there, I see they be leaving the back door open, but I know they said don't go back there, but I think you should. The back doors, that's, we can get in that way. That'd be, that'd be smooth. You get in there quicker. You can bypass all this traffic. You can bypass all the people that's trying to get in with you. And and homeboy like, nah, I'm cool. I'm gonna continue doing it my way. But then the hating dude, he that won his place, he like, nah, go ahead and go through the back door, and you're gonna find a way. I'm gonna get you in there. You're gonna even have more bottles. And then
it sounded good.
It sounded good. Everything's you know what, you're right. I'm gonna go into that back door, and then boom, cut it off.
Go through the back door and get
popped. Back door get popped, and now whatever happens now, homeboy that been hating the whole time able to take your place.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's kind of what for sure happened with the devil, because the thing with him was he was upset that God even created us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he wanted to be able to interrupt God's plan for us, because he you gonna create these beings who and make them more powerful than me. Oh, okay. Let me, I do have a lot of questions pertaining to how did the serpent get in the garden?
I mean, listen, the serpent was already in the garden. He was one of the animals. At the end, he was there. Again, and we talk about it all the time. I'm just my idea is it that everything happens kind of in a sense for a reason. So he was already there. The hater be already there before you get to the club. He already sitting at the door waiting for you to come. He know you gonna pull up.
Yeah.
He know that fancy car that you pulling up in every weekend. The same time he been looking. Mm-hmm. So that weekend when he, what I'm saying, mm-hmm. he make his move, bro. You didn't already been plotted on for the last 2 months. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He was just waiting on his time. So he was already there.
And then not only that, it's another thing is like the serpent was having a conversation with Eve. He wasn't having a conversation
because she was toxic.
Bro, we're not about to do that because Eve was not toxic, bro.
We know, woman, all seriousness.
So you went from saying that, we need a companion to now she was toxic?
Man, it be like that. It be peaches and cream when in that fairy tale. In the honeymoon phase, it be peaches and cream, and then boom, everything changed.
But Adam was standing right there the whole time she was having a conversation with the enemy.
I don't know if he was.
He was right there.
I don't think he. I feel like from my recollection is that the word.
She was right there. How else would Eve give him?
No. So from my recollection or my vision, from my viewpoint of what happened, this is my viewpoint of what happened.
But this is Mr. your viewpoint. But the Bible, it says
listen,
that.
We not doing this today.
Listen, he said real quick. I'm gonna let you say your point because you about to say something. I'm gonna assume off of just using context clues.
Yeah.
Which we are taught, right?
Right.
He had to be right there when she was talking to the serpent.
Maybe he was.
And when he ate, he didn't say, "No, you already know God told us don't eat that."
Or maybe he wasn't. I don't know.
No.
I feel like
he took a bite. So if there was no issue. She thought it was good, and she said, Right. And he said, "Oh."
So let me tell you my vision of it.
Oh God.
Let me tell you how I see it. Adam was at the crib chilling. He was in the bed relaxing, minding his business. He just got finished playing the game. Just got finished playing GTA 6. Even though it ain't dropped yet, he was chilling, relaxing. Boom. Meanwhile, Eve out here, doing something she ain't supposed to do, engaging in conversation she shouldn't be engaging in with the snake.
I would agree with that.
She vulnerable.
Yeah.
Adam been playing the game too much. He been playing the PS5 a little bit too much. Eve vulnerable. She go out here, she wandering. The snake pull up, holler at her. Hey, what's up with homeboy? Like, why he trying to tell you not to eat from the tree? I know his big homie told you not to, but who is they? Like, you got a voice too. So then she goes to say, like, you know what? I ain't gonna disrespect him. He like, man, see, that's lame. See, you playing, you don't, you see, you don't want, who wear the pants in the relationship? That's how it be. Who really wear the pants in a relationship? So then she like, you know what, you right. She goes, she eats the apple, and then she has just, and he tells her like, you gonna feel good, all, you know what I'm saying, all everything gonna be peaches and cream. She eats the apple. She eats the what? She eats the what?
I think got an apple.
She eats the apple. She eats the apple.
Okay.
So she eats the apple. Okay. She goes back and she's like, she don't even tell. This how skept females be. That's what it was. This how skept. She goes back. She don't even tell him that, I was just interacting with your op. He on your heels. I ain't gonna lie to you. She just be like, hey, this is the treasures that he gave me. But she don't tell you where she got it from. She might have. And she like, yeah, eating. He like, oh, you know what? Men, we, at the end of the day, women be our weak spots. You know what I'm saying? You my rib. You know what I'm saying? Even though I know I ain't supposed to, you my, why you, like, you my rib, so he falls victim.
Very manipulative behavior over here. Very.
Yeah, so he falls victim. He eats from the apple because he's trying to do whatever it can to make her happy and make sure that, everything is cool. And then boom, now it rains. And all is over with.
Like physically rain, or are you just saying it?
I'm just saying it rains. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy that was your interpretation, but I definitely don't think that's the way it went down. But I
for
feel
sure.
You though.
But that's the visionary. That's the vision that I seen.
Well, what I seen was Adam was there. He just seen her having a conversation and he partake. But what I do say on a different level, like one thing the enemy did, he went to go talk to the woman. He got in her head. And I think that by him getting in her head, and that's why I think as women, sometimes we have to be careful because the enemy will try to get into our head so we can go get into our husband's head. You know what I'm saying? Try to get to us so we can go pitch an idea or whatever to the enemy instead of sometimes our husband just shutting it down. It's like, if you don't be mindful as a wife, you can give your husband some poison that the enemy has been saying to you in your mind. And you know what I'm saying? So I definitely think that it was way more to it, and I could definitely get into it, but I don't want to, I want to make sure we good on time. But I know that Adam was standing right there because she gave him a piece. And like the Bible says, nothing happened when Eve ate it. Something happened when Adam ate it, though. It wasn't until Adam ate it that it hit the fan.
I mean, yeah.
And I wonder, why is that?
Because like we said, Adam was told not to.
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
So I feel like this is a complete example of disobedience.
Well. And
how disobedience can birth and breed sin.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just funny though, because when you in the yes, you're correct as far as the disobedience part of it, but it's just, in the real time of things, I think, and I'm being honest, funny right here. I'm not being funny right here. It's just crazy though, because for men, when men love, they really do love, you know, and it goes to show, like, like we're supposed to die for our family. You know what I'm saying? Like if it came down to it, we supposed to sacrifice it all for the ones that you love. That's just that's our nature. That's our nature. Like, shoot, that's my wife, that's my kids, this is what I gotta do for my home, whatever the case may be. So it's just not ironic, but I'm gonna use the word, I guess, ironic, because I can't think of nothing else. But I think it's ironic that in that situation, I feel like that was a early example of the love. This is how my vision, that's how I'm seeing it, the love, how a man can, would still sacrifice and maybe not necessarily, I'm gonna say, do what he wasn't supposed to do because his woman came to him with the idea of it. So yeah, I think that's pretty, ironic, I guess.
Well, I can see why you say that. I feel like, and on the opposite side, I could see how, our desires as a, not even just as women, but like how the enemy said, like he pitched her something that sounded really good. And I don't think she even understood, like in that moment, like, yeah, it sounds good, but this ain't what God told me to. Like her desire she started to picture what it would taste like, oh, and she seen that, she looked at it and said, oh, it looked good. Then when she ate it, she's like, oh, it tastes good. And she didn't see anything wrong with it, but she totally had disregarded or forgot the fact that God had already gave her a command. So I feel like sometimes our desires and the things that we want or the enemy try to tempt us with can make us forget about what God says. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Sure. Because like I said, this is a total act of disobedience because God specifically said, don't eat from there. And he told him why. Like that's the tree of knowledge. That's the knowledge, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And that's the same thing that the enemy told him. But the only difference between what the enemy told him and what God told him was a lie. He said, if you eat from it, you won't die. But God told him, like, if you eat from it, you will die. And the enemy
and he made her, and he put the thought in her mind, like, well, why can't I? Why can't you eat from that tree? So, once you start, why you, as a parent, as a child, why you keep, if I'm a baby or a kid, why do she keep telling me that not to touch that thing that's hot?
And then she responded back like, well, yeah, because he said, because he said, I'll die. And then he's like, surely you will not die. So I thought,
I'm sorry. And then real quick, also, I guess to kind of go back to my point, as far as what I have mentioned, as far as the love that a man, what he would do for his family, I think it's also in contrary to that. Like you said, bro, you was given the directions. You the head of the household. It's you are supposed to lead. Yeah. So I think it's a balance. It's a scale right there to where it's like, yeah, although you might do whatever it takes for your family, or you might, again, you might do whatever it takes for your family. Also, it's your job to make good decisions as well and lead.
Yeah, as a man, I definitely do think that it was set up that way for a certain reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I don't really even believe, like I used to be like, oh, it was Eve's, like fault or whatever. But now, as you grow in your walk with God, you realize that it's nobody's fault, but both of theirs, because he disobeyed God by, not following his commands, and so did she. But it wasn't until she gave it to him that caused it to change or whatever. So I would definitely like that. And then I was reading some more, and I thought this was crazy. So once, God came and said something to them, right? And he started giving them all their punishments, like serpent, you this, woman, you this, man, this gonna be your portion, all the things. He cursed the snake, and he was like, go on. He literally kicked them out of Eden.
Yeah. But I think it's important for you to share what was the punishments, though. At least what was one punishment?
Okay, so to the serpent, he said, because you have done this, you will be punished. You are singled out from all of the domestic and wild animals of the whole earth to be cursed. You will grovel in the dust as long as you live, crawling along on your belly. From now on, you and the woman will be enemies, and your offspring and her offspring will be enemies. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel. Then he said to the woman, you will bear children with intense pain and suffering. And though your desire will be for your husband, he will be your master. And then to Adam, he said, because you listened to your wife and ate the fruit I told you not to eat, I have placed a curse on the ground. All of your life you will struggle to scratch a living from it. It will grow thorns and thistles for you. Though you will eat of its grains, all of your life you will sweat to produce food until you're dying. Then you will return to the ground from which you came. For you were made from dust, and to the dust you will return. Yes. So before all of this, Adam never named Eve, but because after that it said, then Adam named his wife Eve, because she would be the mother of all people everywhere. And then I thought it was crazy too. After they disobeyed God, he made them clothing to cover them up, and you know what I'm saying, and got them all together. But then when you go on in chapter 3,
well, I'm sorry because
I was just saying he took care of her after that.
Well, just to real briefly speak on after Adam, I think it's important to share this. After Adam and Eve both ate from the tree of life, they realized, because you said he gave them clothes. They realized that they was naked. So then they went to go and hide. They went to go and cover themselves up. They looked at each other and was like, oh, what's going on here? So then that's when God came, spoke. What are y'all doing? And really, they was covering themselves up. So yeah, I just think that was one of their first moments of realization for them after they ate the apple.
And to add on to that, once they ate that fruit, that's when sin entered the world.
Right.
Because that was the first act of sin. Like, you got to think about it. They were holy. They didn't have no sin.
Right.
Nothing was wrong with them. They were perfect in a sense. God created them. It wasn't sin in the world. The sin didn't enter until they did what God told them not to do. Which, like I said, disobedience breeds sin, or births sin. You know what I'm saying? So when God tells you to do something and you choose not to do it, you are acting in sin, because he gave you a command. When God tell you to do something, you need to do it. Why? Because he knows best. He created you. He created this world. He created everything that's in it. So it's important for you to listen, because if you don't, situations like this happen to where it's like, I'm trying to save you from this, right? And then, so after this, I thought this was crazy too. After they did all that, I feel like it was him, Holy Spirit, like the Trinity. I feel like they were talking to each other, because it said, then the Lord God said, the people have become as we are, who is we, the Holy Trinity, knowing everything, both good and evil. And then they said, what if they eat the fruit of the tree of life? What if they eat from it again? Like, what if they no? So you had the knowledge of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then you had the tree of life. So they already ate from from the all-knowing tree of good and evil, which caused them to know what's going on. And now sin entered the world. But then they still haven't ate from the tree of life. What I thought was crazy about the tree of life situation was, it says it, like, if they would have ate from the tree of life, and this is what the word, they would have been stuck in sin forever. So God would have never been able to send Jesus to redeem his people from sin. So if they would have ate from the tree of life.
Well, shout out to them. Thank you for making the right decision to eating from the other tree, because we was given opportunity.
Well, it was only that tree that, like the tree of life, I think that would have been cool if they would have ate from that.
That's what I'm saying.
But it was when they ate from, but like what I'm saying is, if they ate from the good and evil tree.
Right.
And then tried to go eat from the life tree, they would have been in sin for life.
Yeah, that's what I said. Shout out to them. I guess
for eating the tree.
I'm just going off of what you just said.
I'm just saying, it said, I guess the Trinity asked each other, like, what if they eat the fruit of the tree of life? What if they eat from the tree of life? And then it said, then they will live forever. So God, like, yeah, y'all got to get up out of here. And so it said that he banished them, so he banished them. And I'm going somewhere with this because we're going to go on and talk about Cain and Abel. We got to get to how they got out of the garden. It said that he banished them, and he had put some like angelic beings in front of the tree of life, and then put some swords swinging back and forth so they can't come over there. Like, yeah, y'all ain't gonna come over here. Like, I gotta get y'all up out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He kicked him out the club.
Yeah, y'all
pretty
can't.
Much. He kicked him out.
Y'all liability, and I can't trust y'all because
kicked him out the club and said, y'all go ahead, y'all go live y'all's life. For Adam, he told him that for Adam, he told him that, go ahead, y'all go do y'all's thing. Y'all got pretty much, y'all go to that club. That's y'all's space over there. No more bottles and kicking in the galore.
I just think he was so disappointed. Like, dang. And then it's like, I can't trust y'all.
Yeah.
So I ain't gonna say I wouldn't mind y'all living here because God was holy. So, and God is holy. So I'm saying that to say that sin can't be around him. So I don't think they would have stayed there anyway. But I think it was more so like, I can't trust that y'all ain't gonna go do this, because I already told y'all don't go do this, and y'all already did it, and now y'all in sin. So yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
like y'all
sure.
gotta go. So he kicked them out, and now we kick them out. Adam and Eve go, and they in the wilderness, or wherever they at, they living their life somewhere else, and it ain't in Eden. It ain't in Eden. But then they end up, creating Cain. Because Adam and Eve end up, end up getting pregnant, and then they end up creating Cain. Cain was first. He was the oldest child. And then after they created Cain, they end up having Abel.
Right.
So let's talk about Cain and Abel.
Okay.
So I would instantly start off with saying that Cain and Abel is the first product of sin.
Okay.
Which is what happens, like when we get to talk about the story, how they even got to where they got. Was the first, like, we talk about product. There was the first product of sin.
Yeah, it's I thought about it because we didn't talk about this in previous episodes. I just, I don't think I read this, but it's one of them things to where it's like generational curses. So it's like, shoot,
yes, I know what you're saying.
Because of the situations low key that your parents put y'all in. Now, unfortunately, y'all gotta potentially bear the fruit of those, that decision making. That decision making. So
the consequences.
The consequences do it all. But before we get to the consequences, like you said, Cain and Abel, brothers kicking it, having a great time, living their best life. Cain was a
farmer.
Cain was a farmer, and Abel was
he was a shepherd.
So Cain, he worked with the soil. I thought that was pretty, funny that, that was what his
job was.
That was what his job is.
And then one of them being a farmer working with fruit.
And one of them, one of them, yep. So and Abel worked with, shepherd flocks, and that and all that. So let's just say time passes. They great at what they do. Cain, doing what he does as far as farming, working with the soil. Abel's doing what he does, and then boom, God asked for an offering from them, which led to what?
Ultimately, Cain and taking.
Not ultimately, but which led to what? What happened first after with the offering?
God accepted one and didn't accept the other. So he accepted, was it Abel's, and he didn't accept Cain's. But from what I read from the scripture, he did not accept Cain's because he didn't bring him his best. I think. Mm-hmm. I think Abel brought him the best, like, of what he had, and I feel like Cain didn't.
Yeah, and what's funny, because I thought back to, our previous episode, heart posture.
Yes.
And that's kind of what was ringing a bell in my mind, because, again, I'm speaking in my vision, okay? I'm saying my vision of how I see this. Cain was doing well for himself, working hard. He up probably 2 M's. He got money, he living his best life, he kicking it, he having fun. You got Abel, in the other hands, he's struggling. That your brothers, but he's struggling. But he okay with his job. He ain't got much, but he making ends meet day to day. He making ends meet. God come with this offering and say, hey, y'all, I need for y'all. It's y'all's time to give y'all's offering, pretty much however that went. And then of the $2 million, let's just say that Cain got, he gave 500,000. So in his mind, 500 bands that took me out. That was a lot. I ain't come across that. Adam had $10 in his Abel had $10 in his account. And his money to make it to next week was pretty much was gone already as well. But he gave him 8 of that 10,
or gave him 10,
because
he said that when Abel gave him, he gave him like a plethora to choose from.
Yeah, so I'm just speaking, my vision of it. So his heart posture was like, what, I ain't got much, but I'm gonna give you what I got, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy with it. I know it's gonna come back and multiply. And God took that. God took that offering from him and said, dang, bro, you ain't had to do that. I know you only got $10 in your pocket. You ain't had to give me 8 of it. I know you still got to eat. You know what I'm saying? You ain't had to do that. Meanwhile, he took the $8 from him. Cain gave him the 500. Well, shoot, here you go, boss. Gave him the Louis suitcase full of 500 bands. Yeah. 500 bands, and he was like, "Hey, bro, I don't want that. What's that? I'm cool."
Yeah.
And he like, "Huh? This 500,000. You just took $8 from my brother. Why you ain't taking mine? I'm cool, bro."
Like, what? Like, I know you Saudi, but why you want to be jealous of your brother?
Because that's how it be. That's real life.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's crazy to me, because it's like all Abel did was what he was supposed to do, or what he, what he felt in his heart to do. And then you got somebody who, you doing the same thing that I'm doing. We doing 2 different things, but now because yours is not accepted and mine is, you want to be mad at me?
Yeah, I mean, because that's how it be. I got kicked out the club. Why I get kicked out the club, bro? Why I'm coming in here every day throwing a couple bands? Why I get kicked out the club? You know what I'm saying? And that from there, now the animosity start growing. Now the hate start coming up. Now now I'm triggered. Now every time I look at you, bro, I don't like dude.
I'm feeling away.
You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling away. I don't like dude. Why he accepted by the crew over there, not me?
But this is crazy, because God said to him, like, why are you so angry? And why do you look so dejected? You will be accepted if you respond in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
God, like, there ain't no reason for you to be mad right now. Like, you will be good as long as you just come correct next time.
Mm-hmm.
Like come correct. He told him, like, but if you refuse to come correctly, because he literally say, but if you refuse to respond correctly, then watch out. Sin is waiting to attack and destroy you, and you must subdue it. And it's like God warned him.
Yeah.
Because he seen it. Like, you mad, you don't even got to be mad. Just come correct next time.
But yeah, for sure. But you know how it be. Once you feeling the way, you feeling the way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Once it's what they say, if it's up, then it's up, and it's up, and it's stuck. Yeah. Well, so for him, it was like it was up. I gave you my offerings and you ain't take it, but you took my little brothers. You know what I'm saying? But I would
think the problem would be with God, not with your brothers.
That's what. But I'm just saying,
like, from reading it, but I get it. Like you said, this is life. This is what people do. People be mad at other people for, those type of things.
They issues.
Yeah, so I guess that. And then after, God had that conversation with him and warning him like, hey, just come correct next time. Don't even be mad. But if you end up doing the wrong thing, guess what? You're gonna fall into sin, and then you're gonna reap what you sow, right? Mm-hmm. It said later, it's like Cain was plotting on his brother.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, let's go out to the let's go out there to the fields. Like, let's go to the field. And then took him out there and killed him.
Yeah. Yeah. Told him straight up, like, hey, let's like, come on out here, bro. I gotta, come out here. Well, I've been out here having fun. I've been out here kicking it. I'm gonna show you how to, I'm gonna show you how to, properly shepherd. I got some advice on you to help you shepherd, knowing the whole time that he had other intentions.
Whole time. Literally the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time, and he killed them. And then, they go back, and I don't know how Cain thought he was gonna just be cool. That was the first murder ever in humanity. He talking to God.
Yeah, but hold on. But I think you said it like it's nothing. I think we need to kind of really dive in on that. I think we need to dive in on that. Like, you saying it like it ain't nothing. Like, we talking about brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like, blood brothers, same mother, same father. And we talking about the betrayal of one brother to another brother to the point to where that happened. I think we need to talk about the severity of that.
Well, I think the severity of it is, like I said, it shows where somebody's heart is. It shows where, how wicked and how harmful sin is. Mm-hmm. And what is birthed out of sin. You know what I'm saying? Sin is like the ultimate reason as to why they end up in a whole situation in general. But like you were saying, was about the heart posture. Like, obviously your heart not in the right place from even your offering. Mm-hmm. That showed then, like, your heart not in the right spot. Like, your heart not in the right spot from when you give your offering. Then your heart really not in the right spot once God don't receive your offering. So then you go kill your brother. For sure, your heart getting further and further and further away from who God created you to be.
Yeah, but it's crazy because, again, the life that we all live and experience, it goes to show that it already happened before us. And, I said that, I think, on the last episode, as far as
nothing is new under the sun.
Nothing is new you said under the sun. Mm-hmm. Nothing is new under the sun. And, we go through that, man. I think we've all had experiences and moments in our life to where we can look back and be like, dang, bro, such and such. I love, bro. I love cuz, like, dang, that happened. I would have never imagined. And it's like, bro, in all actuality, this is just the nature of man. Of man, not me, of man. So it's like, bro, I think that's the dope part about being able to pick this up and kind of figuring out, like, okay, let me figure out. I feel betrayed by such and such. Is there something, if I'm not aware, is there something in the Bible that talks about betrayal? And then you go to this, one of the earliest stories in the Bible. Yeah. So I think even with that, it goes to show, the importance of it. Like, hey, bro, this happens early on in the situation, early on in this thick book.
So do you think that should make you feel like, as a person, not to take certain things personal that people do to you? Because if it already happened before you, and this is something that happened in the beginning, do you think if I was going through this situation and I come to read the word, that I should look at it in the view of, like, okay, I can't take it personal. This is a part of living in the world of sin.
Yeah, and it's hard. That's hard, though, to say yes, but it's funny because in the Bible plan that I read today, it talked about faith, mm-hmm. and it talked about action, mm-hmm. and it talked about how, and I'm just gonna say, in a moment like that, to where I forgot, it's regardless, it talked about faith, and it talked about how, it's easy to sit here and say, it's easy to sit here and say, yeah, I got faith and but not live by it. Yeah. It's different to say I got faith and then and correlate that to saying, you know what, my actions is going to prove different. So although you betrayed me, I'm still going to show you love. And that that's different. I'm not saying oh yeah, bro, it's all good. You played me. You played me cock. You know what I'm saying? We still good. But it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's about, okay, I'm not going to, what you say the one time, the example that you gave, I'm not going to pour the poison into my cup and continue drinking from it because you good over there, bro. As long as I hold on to that animosity of you betraying me, as long as I hold on to that animosity of you hurting me, all I'm doing is continue to poison myself.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying. So, because like you said, it's one of those things where it's like you just know it. You know what I'm saying? You deal with it for how you feel, but you don't hold it into your heart, type of thing. Because like you said, it didn't happen from the beginning.
It happened at the very beginning.
And I'm pretty sure, like, I mean, Abel was dead, so we never got to be able to hear what he felt or thought. But just the thought of being like, dang, my own brother, like you said, like somebody got love. Like I mean, we got the same mom and same dad, which kind of also go into when people are hurt from family members. Like they can't believe it, but it's like you said early on, a brother killed a brother. You know what I'm saying? So it's go to show that sin is no respecter of person. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody can pretty much get it. And you know, that's the world that we living in. We living in a fallen world where sin is here. You know what I'm saying? We are, you know, sinners, but you know, we know that God has died for those sins. But I'm just saying that this is the world that we live in. So it's a part of what's happening. That's why I asked it.
But the crazy thing is because as much as I feel like that would be me being contradicting in a sense because, well, what I was going to say was Abel was aware that Cain was
mad,
a little frustrated, you know? So the one part of me want to sit here and say like, dang, it's a lesson in life because it's like be aware of people's ways, you know, be aware of people's ways. So if you peep certain energies, you peep certain vibes, you know, be aware of that. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't be gullible and just keep on, oh yeah, I'm gonna go out here into this wilderness field with you. You know, don't be.
But I don't think he ever thought that his own brother.
No, of course not. Of course not. You know, as much as I know you mad at me, I know you frustrated with this situation. Because he asked Abel, like, why did he take your offering? You know what I'm saying? So he was aware. You know, of course he would have never thought that his brother was going to do that. Who would have? But I think I was going to say also, I guess, would Abel have been wrong if he would have just immediately then peeped ways and then, like, nah, you know what, bro, I'm cool on you. I
don't think so because he seen where his heart was at. And obviously he was at a point of no return to where he would take it that far. You know how mad somebody gotta be to take you out? Or where their heart posture gotta be at for them to do what he just did? It ain't like he was like just upset to where it was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. My offering wasn't enough. It's like, nah, my offer wasn't enough. You made me. He took it super, super personal to where it's like, nah, you made me look bad. God gonna accept you and ain't gonna accept me. You know what? F you. Yeah. I'm cool on you.
But what's you know, imagine this though. Imagine that's because the part of the story we heard or we are aware of. What if in their upbringing, because this is when they was.
Okay. You know, what if in their upbringing, Abel got treated better?
And that was just the last trigger.
That could very much well so be the thing. And that happens a lot in families. Yeah. You know, older siblings not really taking to the younger siblings and really get jealous and be cool. Like, you got to think, Cain was first. So ain't no telling how Adam and Eve was treating him when it was just them. You know what I'm saying? No telling what, you know, special privileges he got. And ain't no telling what changed up when Abel got here.
You want to know what's crazy is, and I done brought this up before, but Lion King. You know what I just thought of? Simba
and Scar.
And Simba and Scar. You know, because Simba was the son.
No, yeah, Simba, yeah. Mufasa was the son.
Mufasa?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mufasa. I don't know. Now you got...
Mufasa we just went to go see that.
Scar
was the big brother and
hold on, don't go. Just hold on. All right, Scar was okay. So
Scar was the hater.
Scar was the son. Scar was the son. All right. So Scar was there. Everything was cool. Everything was perfect. Then boom, up come this other little cub that pretty much you didn't embrace. You didn't spare low key because initially, from what we seen in the movie, they wasn't about to take on. You're not coming into our tribe. We don't accept other lions or into our tribe. That's you a threat. You know what I'm saying? Although you a cub, we'll kill you. Scar said no. That's my brother. I want to take him on. Took him on, and then time and time happened. Boom, the other lions come, whatever the case may be. Scar starts seeing little small stuff to where he like, you know what? Dang, I'm not getting the same love that I once was getting. Now he's starting to get the love. You know, so without even expressing himself or ever showing that, it's little animosity that's building that he's fully not even aware of. He's not even aware it's coming. And then they continue getting older. And from what we've seen, the other lions come, they attack his mom. Instead of him stepping up to kind of be a savior,
instead of Scar stepping up to try to save his mom, his brother
end up doing that, you know, and honestly ain't even the brother. Now the dad that never really accepted Mufasa, right? What's his name? Simba, who never accepted Simba, now accepts Simba as his son and kind of looks at Scar like, bro, you was about to let that ride? You was about to let that happen? So now, again, the next triggering thing that happened led to, and I'm just speaking, you know, it
was Simba, baby.
A poor chain of events.
Yeah, it was Simba. Yeah, so Simba was Mufasa's dad. Yeah, so like you said, it brewed over time. So we don't know the back context of the relationship between Cain and Abel before, like you said, that could have possibly very well been his last straw. But the point of the matter is, his heart was
for sure.
He was definitely in the evil spot to be able to do something like that.
For sure.
Then the kicker was, even with him, he was just operating this. He was just definitely had a whole sinful nature and was operating in evil the whole time, because he even lied to God when he was like, where your brother at?
I don't think he lied to him.
He said
the most infamous line that we know. He said, am I my brother's keeper? Shoot.
He did lie.
Well, I mean, but
he said, listen, he said, afterward, the Lord asked Cain, where is your brother? Where is Abel? And he said, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the first. And then
he said, Cain, am I supposed to keep track of wherever he goes?
Yeah, but he
was tripping.
But you know, another context is also noted that he said, you know, and that's where we get that line from. Am I my brother's keeper? After he had stoned him, he had said, you know, God revealed himself and said, you know, and that's when Cain has said, am I my brother's keeper? And from that, you know, God cursed him and told him, you know what, bro, that was wild. I warned you. Go on about your way. I know what you did. And banned him and told him to go about his way.
Because he said, bro, what you mean? Your brother blood cries out from the ground.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to say you don't know where he at? But that's what I'm saying. Adam and Eve thought that one little act of eating just a piece of fruit was harmless, and it brewed and birthed sin in the world.
Yeah.
Which ultimately caused everything to grow between Cain and Abel.
My boy said, am I my brother's keeper? He said straight up, like, hey, bro, listen, what you asking me for? Am I my brother's keeper?
But that's why I'm saying, like, he even getting fly with God.
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking about the proximity of the relationship with the Lord, because he talking directly to God.
Mm-hmm.
He literally talking directly. It ain't say he was talking to Adam or Eve. It said he was talking to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it tells me that even though Adam and Eve did what they did, God was still around and present in relationship with them.
I mean, yeah, because like you said, you said it when it first happened. Yeah, he was mad at them, but he still helped clothe them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm done with you.
But that goes to show how much he loved his creation and how much he believed in his creation. I think it was a thing of, like, just like I said, just disappointment and just being like, I can't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
But you my creation. Imagine Yara, doing something that you told her not to do. You ain't gonna just throw it away.
Yeah, but but from the man's eye, you turned your back on me. You know what I'm saying? From just a blank eyes, you turned your back on me. But in all actuality, I've really never left. So even though you could have fell off that deep end for real and you don't know what was over there, but I still stopped you.
Yeah.
You know, it might not be peaches and cream for you no more, but that's what, you know, that's what we want. We wanted the easy route.
But you gotta deal with the consequences of your action.
You gotta deal with these consequences, but I ain't going to
just leave you.
To leave you.
But not that the love ain't the same, but like you said, the way I'm taking, or the what we could have, or what I was trying to create and what we did have, something has now gotten in the middle of it.
But
so I still love you, but it just we ain't operating on that same level no more.
But for Abel, somebody that was moving in humility and humble and just and a meek spirit, he was fine with that. Like, dang, mom and dad messed up, bro. We out here living foul now, but hey, we good.
But see, okay, so that I feel like that was the first sin that entered the world, and then I feel like the second crazy act was that.
Yeah, that was the first murder that happened.
Yeah, it was a lie in it. It was a murder in it. You know, that's a part of God's commandments. Don't kill, don't steal, don't lie, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we know we're about to wrap this up in a minute. All in all, just because...
Hold on, but before that, again, just because it's still the same thing. He sent Cain about his way. But what did he say to Cain?
What you mean? What you mean?
Oh, well, he told Cain, listen, he cursed Cain.
Yeah, he did.
He cursed Cain and kicked him out. Said, hey,
he said, from now on, listen, you will be a homeless fugitive on the earth.
Don't come back to the hood. You know good in the hood. Ain't that what they say? You know good in the hood. You can't come back no more. But guess what? Ain't nobody gonna put their hands on you. Yeah. So you go over there, you know good over here. But ain't nobody gonna put your hands on you. So he although he cursed the ground that he walked on
and said, get up out of here.
In literal terms, he said, I'm gonna make sure ain't no one gonna kill you.
Okay, so I do think that was his love, but then I also think that was it was also adding on to the consequence. Hear me out. I'm cursing you, but also too, I'm gonna make sure that nobody kill you because I want you to feel this.
I mean, you can look at it that way.
Feel the wrath too. Like God, I don't know why people be thinking that God just be like, oh, like no, God did not play. Yeah. God is a holy God. He don't play sin. Sin cannot be in his presence. He does not play. So to think that God ain't out here correcting his kids and standing on business, like Juicy say, you will be a fool to not think so. So I kind of also think, yeah, I'm making sure that ain't nobody, I'm protecting you to make sure ain't nobody gonna touch you, but I'm also making sure that you feel the consequences of your actions.
Yeah, for sure. You know, in which Cain then went on and he went to create his own lineage, you know, so he still went on to do his own thing.
More sinners. And Okay, so all in all, because before we end, I know we're gonna go back to this. So whose fault do you think it was?
We gonna call it 50-50.
Okay,
that's that's I ain't gonna be funny about it. We gonna call it 50-50 because again, like I said, although Eve was the one who ate it first, and she came in, and that temptation that she was tempted with came and tempted, her man with, at the end of it was his responsibility to put her in his place and say, hey, listen.
Go ahead and don't trip.
Go get that out my crib and go get it out my crib. That's why we supposed to pit them. We gotta start
doing too much.
We gotta start pitting our women in their place. Pit them in. Hey, go ahead. And if you got an issue, talk to me when you got it correct. You heard me?
That was good acting. And scene.
Yeah.
Okay. Please don't listen to him. Because you will end up somewhere where Adam ended up at. But I do want to leave with a perspective.
Uh-huh.
I was reading this, and this is the Student's Life Application Bible, so it kind of really break things down. I really want to give you a fresh perspective. Tell me. It made a point, a valid point. It was saying that Adam and Eve were born as adults.
Mm-hmm. So
they never had the opportunity to grow or discover and figure out right from wrong, or
go ahead.
I'm dead serious. I feel like this is really good because it says it's for real. It was just saying that they were born adults. They really were. They literally were created and they were adults. They weren't created to be children and grow up and have experiences to shape or to help them literally learn right from wrong. You know, as a parent, we say no to your, you can't get that, yes, blah, blah, blah. And they get to grow and they learn. Adam and Eve didn't have that luxury.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go there. But it says, really with Eve, with her being birthed as an adult, you can look at it like how we say like, oh, it's her fault. Or you can look at it like, dang, with Grace, like, she's adult. She never had that life experience. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Put it in real context. She never had that life experience, never was able to go through anything or learn new things. So when the enemy approached her, he approached her with new information, something she never heard before, something that, like, not trying to be funny, but it seemed like the way God hadn't had it set up, it was just like, la, 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 like they didn't have no other challenging perspective or thoughts. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, that's actually good. Yeah,
like,
sure.
so it was saying that really, when we want to, you know, just give her grace, like, she got approached by a serpent that gave her some new information that she never heard before. So she's gullible for real. She not knowing, she only know her father, her husband, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So then you hear another voice, a voice that you've never heard before. You've only heard the voice of God. So now you're hearing a voice that you never heard before. And I feel like this is thank you, Holy Spirit. This is very good for even young people who are, you know, teenagers and all the things. Like, you only been hearing this one voice. So when you step out and you go into the real world, like you said, she was roaming in the garden, and you hear another voice. You like, what is that? So now you're trying to discover what this is. And this new voice is telling you something other than what God has told you about yourself. So now you entertaining the thought. Now you entertaining the conversation, because you don't, this is like a new conversation. I've never had this conversation. I never had this thought. I never had this perspective. This never even occurred to me. I never thought this way. So now I'm having a conversation with the enemy, not even knowing I'm actually having a conversation with the enemy, because I'm just like, where did this thought come from? So then as I come back and I bring it to you, like, hey, you ever thought about this? So now I'm planting a seed and giving you some fruit, and you like, no, I ain't never thought about that. Now you partake in what the enemy gave me. So now we both then ate off of what the enemy told us unknowingly, because we didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying that's what they were talking about as far as the new information. And it said that she ate the fruit, but she failed to trust the one who had never failed her. And then Adam made the same mistake. He got new advice, but he didn't ask no questions. He didn't do no checking, and he ate it. So both of them disobeyed God, and the results was death. And ultimately at the end, I think, you know, with to sum it all up, God wants people who are free to sin, to choose him instead, to choose and trust him and love him instead of the other thing. You get what I'm saying? So, like I said, we can look at it like, oh, Adam, you or Eve, you was in the wrong. But really, if you really want to be technical, she was born as a dog, never had no life experiences. And then you get approached with this new thought or this new perspective or this new suggestion that you never heard. It's new information. So you partake and you like, oh, you entertain it, you conversate with it. You like, oh, so this way. And the whole time you're not knowing it's a lie.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. And you just said it. The beauty of it is now we have the option,
the free will.
Now we have to. So somebody sacrificed for us. So now we have the option. Now we know the consequences. We have the choice that we can make. And I think that's a good part to end off on.
Yeah. So and ultimately, God just wants us to choose and trust Him instead of anything. So we free to sin. We free to do whatever we want to because He gave us free will. But instead of sinning, I want you to choose to trust me and love me instead.
For sure. Neighborhood Politicz. We out.